Good evening. The video I never wanted to film is tonight. There's a consultation on at Leigh Library because the smart city is due to take all of our local greenbelt if we don't resist. And there's a choice of 4 places that they're thinking of developing. Now, let's see how far I can actually get with this camera. I'll try and film up the least up to the door of the consultation. Let's see. But can't say. I'm looking forward to tonight. I've worked everybody's worked like a Trojan documenting this smart city. But you can't go in. What's this? What's this? So the consultations are so-called today, 2 till 7. What's it saying? Please use the door at the back of the building. Oh, amazing, eh? Let's just film here. Local plan consultation event. Access the ramp at the back of the building. Let's go. This is a nice church. I hope it's not too bumpy this. I usually use 2 hands, but I've got my briefcase, so I look professional tonight. So yeah, the saddest video I've had to make to date, and I'll tell you, there's been some sad ones. Really, there has. The amount of messing about in the freedom movement when all this rubbish is going on is, shall I say, disappointing to say the least, but not unexpected. You've got to think about, is what you're doing helping to resist this, and if it isn't, then why? We got
hello.
Hi.
All right.
Are you?
Yeah. Thank you.
Hiya.
Hiya.
I'm not signing in, if that's all right. I don't
No,
sign
that's
into
right.
places. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
It's just south of Pennington Price. Yeah, it's not that far from Pennington Price. It's just the south of Pennington Price. We've got a policy and a plan on that. For all of the
that's where I live. I live at Hindley.
That includes various social.
Oh, I used to live in Golborne. We moved like
when the site's
5 years ago.
Oh,
really?
So what I'm going to propose is that site. So you can see here, sort of south of Pennington.
Did you listen to Golborne? Yeah, because that was the original.
Yeah.
Because I think when they were all coming out of the sea, so a lot of new houses this side, isn't there?
So no, the intention is for that to remain as greenbelt. We have to look at, when we're looking at sites for or for housing, we do need to look at arranging alternatives. So we did consider that land there, but it's not one that we intend to take forward.
Because it's what happens as well when you get sudden traffic.
Oh, that's not the map. Oh, it does, yeah. That's our area.
So the 4 employment sites, so
there.
that one there.
As you can see, the biggest stretch of of Greenbelt
plus industrial estates.
in Greater Manchester,
There's a large one,
which is opposite Barton
the
Moss,
side of Wigan basically.
which traditionally has been a very, very environmentally important and sensitive area. So let's hear what they have to say about that, hey? Told you about this rezoning, didn't I, Leigh? We saw it.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it is. Yeah, so that's there's obviously existing housing sites.
No, I know, and that's where they've obviously lost the trust of the residents on this.
There is the site Ellesmere, which is a site that's been in plan previously in the 2013 plan.
Don't mind leaving in a minute.
Has actually started. There's some elements that have actually completed. But the aim is to kind of continue it down site and bring it forward.
I understand.
That will take you to our
There's a lot of houses.
Just send me an email about proposals in the area.
Yeah, it's the trust, isn't
I'm
it?
taking to view our entire local plan. Yes. So there's, I think there's like 73 policies. So it's not just about development.
I don't see environment. There's not like there's nothing going on in the town centre.
Try and photograph all these in a minute.
Try and put businesses into the town centre.
So where is Astley? Is what I want to know.
You might well see that.
Because it's great because the enforcement thing is to say
The application to
some of the brownfield sites we did have houses on, so you can't reuse them for industrial sites. I think
Hi, I'm here to represent the residents of Higher Green at Astley,
they will just go on this bit.
which you know, right in the Greenbelt,
Yeah.
the edge of this plan. Do you know where I am? Want me to show you?
If you show me whereabouts is it?
Here.
policing or more.
Right near Barton Moss.
Right.
So what's the criteria? So have you got a presentation then, first of all? Do you want to...
No, we don't have a presentation. I'm not comfortable with being filmed, so I will pass you on to
Okay. There's a lot of retired people in the village who won't be...
You don't have to. You don't have to.
No, there's a lot of retired people in the village. I want to film what's going on
Which
today.
village?
Higher Green.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of elderly
Yeah,
there.
you can film the presentation. That's not a problem at all.
So, what's the criteria then? There was a very kind of, I've not really studied it yet, but what are the criteria then for choosing Higher Green Astley? Have you got the document of what the criteria were for you to select that part
the
of
criteria is
Greenbelt?
basically that we've got, starting point is, got a lot of low level of jobs in the borough, so 0.6 jobs per working age person, really low. We export 60,000 people a day out of the borough for work. We've got a relatively low wage economy, relatively low skilled economy. We need to, as part of Progress of Unity and those missions there, which is fundamentally
I'm not film
driving...
people.
It's fundamentally driving what the council is doing across the board, and the local plan is trying to contribute to that. So we've looked at what the best opportunities are to try and increase the number of jobs in the borough, and this site at Higher Green is unique really in terms of
We're flora and fauna for a start.
what the proposition is. Which is not about damaging all of that. I mean, two of our sites are logistics led. Another site is local employment, small local employment premises. The proposition at Higher Green is for a campus style office and research and science led development
Right.
on about a third of the site.
Okay.
A small number of homes, we've said up to 300, to help deliver the value on the site, to make sure that the infrastructure across the site is high quality, and we'll be holding the developer to that if the plans go
Have you
through.
selected a developer?
It's Peel.
Who do Peel usually use? Do they use Bulmer and Kirkland
They
or
can
Salboy?
use lots of different developers.
Okay.
Yeah. And the third thing is a visitor economy, visitor attractions and visitor facilities related to the Mosslands to the south. So that's very much about facilities on site, making use of the canal, related to the science.
The canal looks horrendous health-wise at the moment.
Yeah.
What's going on there? You must know.
Don't know.
I filmed it. I can show you.
Yeah. Well,
Oh yeah, I film everywhere.
It's related to the Lancashire Mining Museum.
Which I live right near.
Yeah. So.
And why do I live right near there? Because I wanted to live near the countryside, which we were told a long time ago, well, for years, it's a very important environmental place with rare flora and fauna, amphibians. There's a site of special scientific interest. Yes, there is there. On Barton Moss, Astley Moss and Barton Moss there is. So where's the site then? Where's the site
The site is north of the canal. It's between the canal.
Have you got
and
a layout of it here?
We have.
I know you're showing Leigh here. Sorry. Is it okay if I just? Yeah. Okay.
So the site's here.
Yes.
So that's Higher Green. That's the canal. That's the borough boundary, and that's the East Lancs Road.
Yeah. So is that the road that runs down, kind of like the road that runs kind of like into the countryside?
That's the canal.
Oh, that's the canal, is it? So it's Higher Green that's being developed, not Lower Green at the moment.
It is. Yes.
Do you have a map, please, of the Higher Green?
I don't, to be honest.
Is it coming on at Tyldesley?
It is. Yeah. That's the main purpose of the Tyldesley one.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Okay.
So where are the where is our competition then?
What competition?
It's a selection of 4 areas, isn't
All right.
there?
So
Potentially 4 areas.
No,
How many are you choosing out of those 4
No,
areas?
the integrated assessment looked at, I think it was 8 sites, 7 or 8 sites. 7, I think it is.
Do you have a copy of that available?
It's on our website.
Okay.
Yeah, linked to. If you look.
I can't see that much, and I've not put my glasses, so I keep putting.
If the council's homepage for this plan has got a link to the integrated assessment. So
Is that an environmental impact assessment?
it's a sustainability assessment.
Right.
So looking at the economic, social, and environmental implications of the plan.
Did you use a ranking and rating model for that then?
It's ACOM have done it, and they are well used to doing these integrated assessments for the plan.
Who paid for that then?
The council is still paying for it. Yeah, it's not completed yet. I mean,
have you had any contribution from developers?
No.
Okay.
So that's not completed yet in the same way that the plan's not completed. So they've assessed this version of the plan, and then it will be finalised before we get to the final version of the plan that we want to adopt.
Are you intending to do it? So the letter that we got said that there'll be that there's potentially 4 areas for development. So out of those 4 areas, it did on the Higher Green letter.
Where from? The council?
Yes. It said there's 4 areas.
4
and there
sites.
were 4 sites.
So the sites are that one. Bridgewater West, that one, Winnick Lane.
Okay.
That one, which is
Winnick Lane, it's been obvious that it looks like it's disastrous. Absolutely, there's nowhere for the wildlife to go. It's scandalous. This absolutely scandalous. I've watched that. I can't imagine how an environmental impact assessment has even passed it. Environmental management. I think it's horrendous what you've done there. It's going to go down in history as like an environmental disaster.
We haven't done anything yet.
You have. You've ripped up all the countryside and put the roads in.
That's St Helens. I think you'll find that's in
St Helens.
Yes.
Yeah, no, not we. I'm on about kind of like the overall kind of impact on the environment was shocking there, wasn't it? And it will be Warrington.
That is Wigan. That is Warrington.
Yeah.
That is St Helens.
Okay.
It's all on the same agenda.
Right. So that's Wigan. That's Warrington. Warrington, that's St Helens.
This is Warrington.
Okay.
This is Wigan. The coloured bit is Wigan.
Yeah.
And this bit is St Helens.
Okay.
But the aim is to try and get.
So all agendas are the same, no matter what. You can divide yourself up into areas, you can do that all you like, but it's exactly the same what's happening in that area is happening in this.
So I've been studying them for the past 18 months. I've been studying the development of smart cities in Greater Manchester with great deal of investment from the United Arab Emirates and from China as well. So I really would seek reassurance that I'm not going to end up with these Chinese funded, owned, rented and built. There's no conspiracy to this. This is a fact. It's a Beijing China Well, the Beijing China Engineering Group International, for example, is developing Wigan galleries.
No,
so you
not
must.
got any interest in Wigan galleries.
They've been doing a lot in Wigan. The Beijing China Engineering
Their
Group
involvement in Wigan
International.
galleries has
Yeah.
ended.
I say really? Since when?
Since the demolition contract finished.
Was it just the demolition contract then that BCGI? Well, they're doing a lot in Eccles, they're doing a lot in Manchester, aren't they? Middlewood Locks has had a big lot. Oh, they have. Middlewood Locks. You know what I don't want? I don't want this Chinese style stuff on my doorstep. I invested and moved to the countryside for a reason. We need to protect the environment, and what I'm seeing in Manchester is I'm progressively seeing every single bit of habitat for any insects, any animals, anywhere stripped out, and they'll put initially. Just bear with me because I can document and show. I've made films and documentaries for 18 months. I can show you on camera what I can demonstrate. But in Manchester, they've got these like planters, and initially when people come in, they put a few annuals in, or maybe some perennials, and they'll put some insect houses in the middle of all these towers. And then as the year goes on and all these things die, there's absolutely zero for the insects to live in. The biodiversity and the impact of this is going to kill life if you're not careful. So I'm very interested what you have planned for my very environmentally sensitive area.
It's not a high density development at all. There's a lot of green infrastructure proposed as part of the master plan for the site. Or the
I
initial
don't
master
believe
plan
that
for the
green
site.
infrastructure. It's not sustainable whatsoever.
Okay. Biodiversity net gain is now law, so any development that happens needs to achieve 10% biodiversity net gain on the site. That is a legal
Come on,
requirement.
that's greenwash.
It's not even, well, it's not, and it's not even actually been properly implemented yet, so we don't know what's going to happen there, but it is rigorous. There's 30 years of monitoring requirement related to biodiversity net gain, so it's not actually, it's barely commenced as of now.
Listen, I'm going to be doing Smart City tours soon. I'll come on one of my Smart City tours. I will show you in real life.
Well, biodiversity net gain has only been a legal requirement for something like a year.
There's some
So
biodiversity net gain is an absolute in Manchester and Salford. There cannot possibly be biodiversity net gain.
A requirement for a year, so
That's it.
it's really buildings that have had approval with biodiversity net gain won't have been built yet.
Right. Okay. So what's the criteria change then? From was it because people saw these
It was a result
developments?
of the Environment Act. That 2020 was it 2021? The Environment Act. It was a requirement for that, and then regulations were delivered by the previous government, and came into law early last year, I think it was.
Yeah.
So
What's the difference then now? So what does that mean then on the ground? So say if you made a development, have you ever visited, say, what I anticipated is near us if you were going to develop it is, do you know what Moseley Common is going to look like? Kind of the Moseley Common area.
yeah.
Well, I liken that to Castle Irwell development, which is the Salboy and Domus, and that's where the old student residences and the racecourse. It'd be very interesting for you to go and look round there. Are you looking at that type of? Because to me, it looks like that type of thing for Moseley Common. And to be quite frank, biodiversity-wise, there's the highest level of biodiversity I've seen on that Salboy site.
Which Solboy?
The Salboy, Castle Irwell.
The thing is this incumbent on our
Lower Broughton. I've studied the entirety of Manchester and Salford, really, I have.
Okay.
So, what type of developments do you have? I mean, that to me, if
housing requirements.
I'm going to resist this. We're going to resist this.
Well, what's the
big
issue with
style.
Mossley Common?
Mostly Common?
Yeah. What's the issue with the site?
What do you mean, what's the issue?
Well, you said there was an issue with the site of Mossley Common. What
I
was
didn't
it?
say there was an issue. What I said is, at Moseley Common, I study the style of these developments. So if you want to see what Moseley Common might look like in real life, then to me, the Castle Irwell development at Salford most looks like what they're trying to do in Moseley Common.
Right.
It's really, there's a lot of different styles of these smart city developments. And if you're doing them and you want to talk about biodiversity, then you ought to
there's
know.
no smart city related Chinese investment in that site.
Is China developing and investing in any of the
I'm not aware
higher
of it,
green
I know.
site?
No.
Is it just Peel?
It's Peel at the moment, yeah.
Okay. So when we're looking at, so if we go down further down here then, because we go from Astley Moss into Barton Moss, we do.
That's Astley and Barton Moss here.
Yeah. I can't quite, like I said, I'll have to put my glasses back on. So if we go from kind of like Astley Moss into Barton Moss, and then what was it? Where was I going there? Yeah, Peel. Trafford Waters. So Trafford Waters. So if we're looking at the M60, then where's the Trafford Centre on there?
M60's there. Trafford Centre is effectively here.
Yeah. So if you look where the Trafford Centre is there, then you've got the river. They've got the river there. Then you've got a big kind of smart city development. Smart city is a widely used terminology. You'll know that, won't you? So you've got a big smart city development here called Trafford Waters.
Yeah.
They've got the care home open. They're just building the blocks. That's where it's up to. But it's big. You've got all the therm, which is all the leisure things. But it's also taking some of those fields here south, the Trafford Waters development, as it expands Trafford City.
That's the other side of the motorway.
Oh, no, it isn't. It's going to come south. So that's the motorway right here.
This is the M60 here.
It is. So Trafford Waters is going to expand beyond that. And I want to know, do you have plans to get that horrible, dirty smart city anywhere near my house?
No. No, we don't.
I'm very frank. Yet. What are the plans for the interim area then, seeing as it seems to be closing in from all sides? And what's going on at Earlham? Because I believe I've been contacted by people in Earlham who said they're going through the same process.
Yeah, there was a proposal in the Salford, in the Greater Manchester, in the Places for Everyone plan in Earlham, as far as I'm aware. Some of it came out though. One of the sites came out of the plan at a late stage because of heat.
Well, so should we. The thing is I live here. There's an owl sits on my house. It's not a normal area biodiversity-wise. It's pretty damn high. I've got newts in my pond. It's not an
got
area
any nature
that
conservation preservation designation on
there
it
is
at all.
when you get towards the this
Yes,
there's a
that's
nature
international.
reserve,
It's
isn't there?
internationally protected. But that site has got no nature conservation
So
designation.
this is internationally protected.
No, that site area there is in
That
there. Yeah.
okay. With what in particular at the moment?
Special area of conservation is in the
A
European
special site of scientific interest. You mean one of them?
No, special area of conservation,
Okay.
which is a European
All right.
designation.
Okay. All right. Right. So what are the plans then between the small amount of green that we'll have left once? If we're talking about the Trafford Centre here, I think it's here near the city.
Yeah.
See where it's taking it, but it's here as well. And these are all the places that my friends, if you don't mind me saying, work with people with mental health, and we assist people who are struggling. And this is a very important leisure amenity
It will remain one. You need to have a look at policy EN5 in our plan.
This
which
isn't
relates to
important
this area.
here.
Well, that's Salford, so I can't tell you what's happening there, but what I do know is we've got EN5 in our plan that relates to this hatched area here, and that is a very similar policy to what Salford have got in their plan for their parts of Chat Moss.
So
Now,
what does EN5 mean then? Just tell.
it's policy EN5 in our plan,
Yes.
which is the policy for Chat Moss.
Okay.
Yeah?
Which says what?
You need to have a look at it. I can't.
Have you got like what's it about then?
Listen to people, basically.
Who's going to listen to this? Me? No, I'm going to study it. Every single word that's said, I really will, yeah. Every single word.
Well, you haven't even told us what your name is
I know.
when you came in, so it's a bit one-sided, really.
To open this up to public. So that's
We
what
are.
With the public.
That's all you need to know.
Is it? Yeah. Okay.
It is, yeah. I wouldn't sign in, I don't know whether you do.
Because
I didn't.
I didn't. And I just said I don't sign places.
we only want to sign in so that we can keep you informed next time we're consulting. We email you. That's all. It's nothing sinister. And what we'd do is we'd email you back in the next couple of days to say, do you want to be on our consultation database for that or not? And that's all it is.
Yeah.
We can do.
We might do, yeah.
No, I mean not go into the way he's talking about, but be part of it. Because we can do that outside of this data collecting.
Yeah.
You don't have to be inside
Data
the
clearing?
Data collecting. Data and the collection of data and the trading of people's data is the most valuable commodity ever.
It's not about that at all.
It does. The Wigan Council does share information.
Yeah.
Well, we won't. I mean, this is a
If you're here under Wigan Council, then that's it.
If there's something you can show us and
We've
sign
got
to
a
that effect.
privacy notice. We've got a privacy notice, and we wouldn't be sharing out this data with anybody.
Okay.
But anyway,
Could I put my sunglasses on? Is that
and
alright?
all we would have anyway is a name and an email address. We're not asking for anything else. But
No.
anyway, so Chatmoss, the remnant area of Chatmoss within Wigan Borough will be protected and enhanced as a key component of GM's strategic green infrastructure network, forming part of a wider lowland wetland area extended into Salford and Warrington. There will be a strong emphasis on delivering nature conservation improvements and providing ecological connections. I'm just summarising here. Enhancing public access with high quality routes for walking, wheeling, cycling and horse riding within the areas and connecting it to surrounding communities and other parts of the Greater Manchester Wetlands Nature Improvement Area.
I don't need to go there.
That is compatible with nature conservation.
Okay.
Improving visitor facilities that support public use of Chatmoss and offer learning opportunities. Reducing carbon emissions and protecting and enhancing the area's role in storing and sequestering carbon. Retaining the flat, open and relatively tranquil nature of the area and its relative darkness. Restoring the functionality of peat habitats, helping to improve the hydrology of Glazed Brook. Supporting opportunities for new forms of sensitive wetland farming that are compatible with the protection of peat, protecting remaining areas of peat from harmful development, supporting the conservation and creation of peatland habitats in the Risley, Holcroft and Chatmoss National Nature Reserve, which I don't think has been declared quite yet, but is on its way.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah. So, is that meaning that I'm going to have to walk half an hour up the road then to have some leisure time? Whereas now my neighbour's horse field is being taken. This is my street. It's running right up to my
No, but there
street.
should be. We're looking to create a really high quality development with, a discreet and not high density, with lots of green infrastructure in there, lots of places to walk and undertake other leisure activities. As a base for using the wider area for the same sorts of purposes, quiet recreation.
And if that manifested in real life like it sounds, but having studied the other developments across Greater Manchester for the last 18 months, I'm seeing some major environmental disasters, and that is the most sensitive area ever. We've got hawks. I've got hawks killing pigeons in my garden. No, that
I've
sounds
got
really
hawks
good.
killing pigeons in my garden,
But
anyway.
They're not compatible with a science park. Let's put it that way. Not
why not?
round us,
I mean,
isn't.
there could be really high
I
levels
do. My
of-
neighbours have My neighbours are farmers as well, and it takes their land.
Yeah, there will no doubt be, and there's change. It is definitely change, but the idea is that it's really high quality environment, both built environment and natural environment
But there's
on that side.
proposed change, though. There's definitely not
And it would have to
change.
deliver a biodiversity net gain. So
So
it's quite high biodiversity from what you're saying,
Yeah, it
and no
is.
doubt it is reasonably high relative to lots of other sites. So they will have to deliver a high level of biodiversity net gain.
out of the 4 sites that were referenced on the Astley one, which will be? Are you going to be at the Tyldesley one?
I'm not, but colleagues will be.
Right. Okay. Well, The one that's referenced on there's a choice of 4 sites, aren't there, referenced on the...
There's 4 sites that we're proposing. I've mentioned...
Are you proposing the 4 in total, or a choice of 4?
No, there is 4 in total in this plan. This is not this has not got options in it, this site. This plan, it's got firm proposals. So we're not putting...
When did the proposal first start for this then, and is there any reading we can do on the background of my job is
These were not part of the previous consultation, so this is the first time these have been in the public domain.
Okay.
So, you know, we need to do one of these consultations at least, which is called Regulation 18, at the Regulation 18 of this plan. The idea is that the next stage of the plan will be the Regulation 19 stage, which is a formal publicity stage, one final consultation, 6 weeks. Representations received at that time would be submitted with the plan to the Secretary of State.
Every half an hour. So are we able to provide representations ahead of that date then? Because a six week, you know, getting a letter through my door, say Thursday, Friday, and then this happening...
We're getting ahead of ourselves at the moment because we're in a consultation now until the 24th of June, so that's an 8 weeks one with about 6 weeks left.
But there weren't what I'm saying to you is there was very little notice between us getting the letter. So you've got to make yourself free. There was very little notice between. I got the letter. I think it was Thursday. Technically, we read it.
The site notice is up with the day before the consultation starts.
The site notices are only on a little thing, you know, around.
There's about 6 or 7 of them around that site notices. So a lot of people have got the information they've got from those site notices.
You have. Listen, we can split hers.
To make it easier to actually open up to the public, as you are supposed to.
Well, yeah, because.
So why are we here? Are we not here?
I'm here to.
Are we not here? Are we not here? Have we not used social media we've used social media widely? Well, no, they don't. That's why we put site notices up. That's why we wrote to everybody around the site.
So you wrote. This is what we're saying. We're saying the timing of it. Just bear with me. Just the timing of it was that I got a letter kind of like Thursday, and regardless of whether you said the sites, I've told you I'm here to represent some of the older people who are a bit disabled, and they don't go around walking, and they've not seen the things. And,
but there's word of mouth, isn't there, locally, and that's how it usually works. So, word of mouth. Whatever we do, it's usually word of mouth.
Well, yeah, and I found out I'd missed a meeting about it when I first found out, because life is busy. So you're saying that are we able to submit written responses to this ahead of I don't want to provide my formal input into this 6 weeks before it goes and before it's due to be approved by the Secretary of State. I want to.
No, that's not what I've said at all.
Okay.
Two
I
things, right?
Then.
There's a consultation now through to the 24th of June.
Yes.
So we need people's comments online. By the 24th of June, that's like 1 minute to midnight on that date.
Okay.
What happens about the people who don't have that connection?
Well, lots of people do, either directly or through friends, or they can come to the library. But if they really don't, we'll provide a written address for it.
Can we take that?
I haven't got it on me at the moment, but
there is genuinely a lot of old people where I am. There's a lad who spends all this week doing the shopping because they can't
get out.
People like
you can help them. If that, people, friends and relatives can help people. People do.
I think you have a duty of care to be able to make sure that they are consulted with, is what we're saying essentially, really.
So,
in whatever
after the
method
deadline,
suits them.
we've got to consider all of the representations that we receive, and then consider what changes, if any, we want to make to the plan.
Yeah.
We've got to finish some of our evidence base, particularly on things like viability.
Yeah.
And sport and recreation. We've got to consider some of the other evidence that's been submitted by site promoters. And then once we've had that, and we've got a briefing, a steer from senior officers and senior members, we'll look to bring forward the plan, revised or otherwise, to Cabinet and Council ahead of that, what's called the formal consultation stage. So that will be just publicised. There'll be a lot of social media presence. There'll be.
Is that Facebook? You see, Facebook, I think, is a social credit system coming in with this very communist-style government that I'm seeing in Manchester, to be quite frank. So I don't go on Facebook.
There'll be lots.
Will it be on a website or anything?
Be on the website. We'll email everybody on our consultation database. At that point, it's literally, this is the plan. we'll highlight any changes that have been made, but it'll be hopefully very similar to the one we're consulting on now. There might not be all of the 4 sites that we're proposing now in it. There might be. I don't know. Can't give you that.
But we need timescales, because I need a timescale to consult with any legal representation that we may or may not need.
I think it's likely to be next year now. Genuinely think it's likely to be next year. But we'll keep people informed.
What, the consultation? What,
the publicity.
What's gonna,
the publicity is likely to be next year. We then...
publicity is in the consultation?
It's the final consultation, which is really publicity, i.e. here's your opportunity to have your say on this site. We then submit all of the representations that we get, as well as the plan, to the public, to the Secretary of State. So it won't be the day after. We obviously need to
so earlier on in that, then what we seek today really is an ideal, a timescale and a breakdown of the consultation phase.
I can't give you that right now. I can't give you that right now, because I suspect it will be next year when we get to the next stage.
I don't want. What I'm saying is, I want to be able to do it before that 6 weeks.
Well, you can do it now. This is why we're consulting now.
But if I want to seek legal representation, if we want to seek legal representation,
seek legal representation on the back of what we're proposing now, if you want to.
So we go from here to some announcement, and what happens in between that?
We've got to take in board what everybody's said and consider whether we want to make any changes to the plan, complete our evidence base, make sure we've got all our ducks lined up, if you like, and then publish it. Obviously it goes through a governance process, so it'll be in the public domain before those 6 weeks happen, because it'll be on the agenda for Cabinet and on the agenda for Council. We'll then have a 6 weeks period which will be widely publicised, where people can make representations. That's basically what's that about. It's not really to have conversations at that stage. It's if you don't like it, tell us, and then unless we think that something new has been raised, in which case we can take a step back and maybe have this sort of consultation again. But if we're confident enough with what we've got, submit it to the Secretary of State, and then we're in the hands of the inspector. They will undertake the public examination. There'll be public hearing dates. There'll be certainly a half day, at least, probably a full day, maybe more, on this site, for example, if it's still in the plan at that stage. The inspector then reports any modifications that they require on the plan will need to be consulted for a final stage. It's a publicity stage again, really, but any new issues around these modifications, and only then can the council adopt it. And I think we're aiming to adopt it in 2027, but I can't tell you at the moment whether it will be early, middle or late 2027.
Okay.
But that's what the time
is. Just do me a favour, just go and get me. Can you just get me bags? Sorry, my bags. Yeah, they are. Sorry. It's just my briefcase is there. Sorry. Yeah. So the carbon thing then? The carbon thing. Yeah. Can you just explain the rationale on carbon saving and what's going on with this? Because it again, like it's landed. You know, like I said, I have a business to run. I need to look at it this weekend. But you mentioned about? There's going to be some carbon saving.
That's on the mosses. That's in terms of habitat restoration on the mosses.
Yeah, that is.
What is that then?
It's about basically re-wetting the land. Natural England have bought a farm down there, haven't they? So they're looking to re-wet the mosslands.
Are they rewilding around there?
I don't know to what extent it's rewilding, because obviously you don't really want trees and things growing in there. But it's returning it to a more natural state. And that's policy EN5, the Chat Moss policy.
EN is a European norm, PN, which is a number.
EN stands for environment.
Oh, does it?
Yes. Oh. It's the environment chapter.
Right. I'm wrong then.
So what do you have in place for people who want to stand against?
Stand against what?
This.
You submit your representations, and they'll be, we'll get...
Yes, but what can you give me today so I can walk that path?
What pastor?
If we don't agree with this, if you bought a house in the countryside like I have, and this were coming on your doorstep, I'm quite sure you'd want to resist. So what's the making? So what you're saying is, if you could outline very clearly what the route is for maybe yes.
Well, we've got a web page which has got a consultation portal on it.
Oh, okay.
And either you can use the QR code there.
We can't use QR codes, but a website.
Or the wigan.gov.uk/future Wigan web link.
Thank you.
So how about those who are not on the
Yeah, I'll film that.
Well,
because there aren't too many of them.
well,
They're in our village, yeah.
well, if you want to get in touch, and you know, we can.
Where do I get that address from?
Planning policy.
That's exactly.
Planning policy at wigan.gov.uk.
That's online again.
Well, you've got online.
No, I don't. I don't.
To be fair, you know, it doesn't matter. It's regardless of whether we are or are not online. I can't be expected to go around my entire village of hundreds of people and consult with them if they're not
Most
online.
people have relatives or friends who can help them get online, and the library service will do the same.
I think you are digitally excluding people in this consultation if you're not careful. So maybe we need to we could work and get something. I would distribute some consultation materials, no problem. But we do need another route, especially in our village. There's some very
drop me a line at planningpolicy.gov.uk. If you'll do that, I will send you an address tomorrow. I haven't got it right on me at the moment, but it is basically it's the council's published address for correspondence, which again is on our website.
Okay.
But the thing is there's a lot of vulnerable people who don't have access to the internet, and
Yeah,
you're saying
there are,
like this, people don't have confidence to come into public places. So what I'm saying is something needs to be put in place for those people.
And I've just said we'll do it.
Yes, you did.
In higher green and lower green, we're a little bit behind the times. A lot of people, you know that, you know, and they haven't got the internet access the same. And they have lived there all their life, and they have a lot of my neighbours are all farmers, you know, and farming.
The people we have difficulty getting feedback from is actually the younger people. The vast majority of people who feed back to planning generally are either approaching retirement age or are retired. So we do not generally have a problem with hearing from older people.
Okay.
The representation issue is with younger people.
Will you be able to provide? Will you be monitoring stats of kind of the amount of people in the area versus the rate of response?
If we've got that information, if people have supplied it, yes.
Do you have any minimum ones at which you would need to action further consultation to ensure that you've demonstrated that you've consulted?
Well, we have got a really strong track record in terms of how we've engaged. So I'm very confident that we can show an inspector that we have engaged effectively.
Can I just ask as well, if we're doing these meetings, again, I'm going to be frank with you, really frank. But you know, I will get in contact with you. I'll tell you my name when I've finished this. I don't want it on camera. But the consultations. I forgot where I'm going.
You're going to be frank with me.
I was going to be frank with you. Yeah. What is it? It'll come. You know what it's like. I've been working.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. I'm absolutely the same.
I will.
I just have a really great thought, but I can't remember what it is.
I'm going to fight for all the wildlife around our house.
And you know, we'd expect that, and we will do everything we can to ensure that the wildlife is protected. As I say, 10% biodiversity net gain is a 10% gain on what's there now, and there is a robust Natural England metric to determine what's there now, and it will undoubtedly show that there's a lot there.
So let's get into traffic.
It's 10% of a lot.
Let's go on to the traffic infrastructure then.
Yeah.
What changes in traffic infrastructure are you proposing for the area?
The site needs to be accessed. So there's a conversation at the moment as to how it's accessed, and that is not being completely confirmed.
I heard that they were trying, from neighbours, from the people that live there, that they're trying to go through kind of the farm bit here. Is that maybe?
There's a prospect of getting a link from Higher Green Lane close to its junction with the East Lancs Road, but obviously suitably separated. And then there's also the Chaddock Lane junction,
Okay.
which has got an arm off it already, which I think.
So is that
would be
where
one.
you've done? Is that the reason why you do? Are you put in? What kind of infrastructure will you put in? So you've got the Unix and you've got the Siemens systems that are being currently installed. Then you've mentioned Moseley Common. You've mentioned Moseley Common Road. That was dug up. We filmed it for about 3 days. There's a load of new infrastructure went in. Unix, which is a Siemens traffic management system.
Yeah.
What are you planning for that? Are you planning more genoptic vector 2s or?
I don't know. There's a lot.
That's
We're a
the
long
yellow
way.
camera.
We're a long way from determining exactly what the details of that site are in terms of how it's accessed, because they've actually just mentioned putting a new junction off the East Lancs Road into the employment jobs campus, science campus, part of the jobs element.
So where will that be then on the agenda? Can you kind of show?
The north part, the north third is the jobs, the middle third is the homes, and the southern third is the kind of visitor economy, visitor accommodation, visitor attractions. And it is low key well, apart from the mining museum, which is clearly quite high key, the rest of it would be low key. It would be things like boating on a lake and making better use of the canal, as I've already mentioned. And then the rest of it would be about, cycle hire, maybe connections into a stable for horse riding and that sort of thing, to go further south into the mosses.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we start to look at surveillance, because I do think that under kind of the net zero and low carbon agenda, I don't believe in it. I think it's going to cause the UK economy to go into severe problems.
What?
Net zero.
Right, okay.
Right? And
I thought you'd be in support of that.
no, I'm not.
Right.
B, I'm a pragmatic environmentalist, not someone who gets carried away with propaganda and things. So I went into environmental management in the early 90s actually to save rivers and things like this, not to talk people to jobs with net zero. But what concerns me most is we've been to a few of your consultations. So I came to the consultation on the active travel and cycling, which was at the Leigh Stadium. Do you remember that one? You did a presentation.
Wasn't me.
And what arrived after that was the Viva City road space usage sensors, two of which are at the top of Chapel Street at Leigh, just by the Lidl.
Right.
And one of which is on Warrington Road, just kind of between where the two rugby pubs
So what do
are.
they do? Measure pedestrian
So their
flows?
GPS track live people, cycles and vehicles. They're 5G enabled and they live report the position of people in the road. So what's the difference between that and the China society that I'm seeing, and why under the guise of
I'm a planner. I'm not a technical person in
have you
terms of
got
those sorts
anybody
of things.
who's like a traffic planner in here would be good?
There is a traffic planner in here, or a
Is there
transport
really?
planner. Yes.
I know it's a bit late, but would you speak to me, Mr. Transport Planner?
Yeah, sorry, what we're talking
So, I'm talking about the Viva City road space usage sensors that have arrived at Leigh. I think they are a gross intrusion of people's privacy and an overreach of the state on surveillance. Who on earth, I'm going to probably take this little tiny bit out now. You're one of them. It's a gross intrusion of people's privacy to be filmed with. People are being filmed and the behaviour predicted, you know this, and live reported on the road. Tell me what I need, the difference between that and what I'm seeing reported happens in China. I am seeing these things eventually being used as a tool to lower people's carbon emissions by limiting travel and maybe being an effective geofence. Do you see where I'm coming from?
I do, but all I can say is that's just not the case. They're just to monitor activity along the road.
But what I'm seeing in Manchester, right? So I've said to your colleague, I've been studying Manchester and Salford in depth for 18 months. I'm an anti-smart cities campaigner. I look and I see roads closed and I see congestion being almost created on purpose to forward the low carbon and net zero agenda. And then the road space usage sensors will pick up this congestion because you've got something like, East Dodsall Lane at Salford. You've got 2 roadblocks there. You've got the road being closed, and then you've got huge rings of Viva City cameras all over the A6, Chapel Street, Trinity Way, and the congestion is being created as a means to an end because we have this low carbon active travel agenda. You're looking to stop people from travelling. I want to maintain my freedom to travel.
Okay.
Uninhibited and untracked. I don't want to be GPS tracked along the street. Really?
I completely understand you. Well, first of all, Salford and Manchester is not Wigan. I can only talk about
But
Wigan.
it's the same thing.
It's the same. It is the same unit. It's a Viva City. You know the Viva City roads.
I know what Viva
same
City
one.
is.
They do have different innards, by the way. They have different innards. The ones in Leigh are a bit different to the ones in Salford. I can show you. I've had my camera right in them.
All I can say is, from the council's perspective, they are genuinely put up to monitor active travel users.
You're going to lose your freedom, and you're going to. It is forward in a very authoritarian society. You want to? I will take you personally on a tour of Manchester and show you what I mean. I'm telling you.
The problem with what's happening in Manchester is
I'll be
we're
documenting
here
it
for
anyway.
Wigan Council.
It's fine because I will show you case studies then that I've studied. We will be presenting you case studies from
Well, I
elsewhere.
mean, that is absolutely fine, and that is your right.
That's
I
what
mean,
I'm
obviously.
saying.
Yeah, well, and that's fair enough. But all I can say, the council position is, they are genuinely put up to just monitor how people are travelling.
Yeah.
We're not talking about controlling. But
Can I
At the
have one of
moment.
these maps?
these
So
are internal
if we
maps.
if we
that
are
need,
looking
I'm afraid.
if we are
Can
looking
you get
then
one of those for the next meeting?
The next.
For the public view. Can the public have access to
You
one
can
of
take
those?
well to yeah.
Thank you very much. Right, you've been very helpful. Thank you guys. Very much appreciated. Have a nice evening. Thank you. Bye.
I can't get this down now. I'm going to get it going.
Do you want to give a bit of a summary? Are you wanting to talk or not? Shall I just turn it off? Right then. We made them work for the money anyway, didn't we?
Absolutely.
Bye for now.